a poll say, I think that it seems obvious to me that amongst many Londoners, you are facing probably the worst crisis in confidence that I can ever remember in the police. You mentioned there about the events at Clapham Common and the disproportionate force that was used there. And then people look at that and then they compare it to your policing of the protests last year by Black Lives Matter, in which your officers ran away from protesters.
Sorry, our officers never ran away from any protesters. That is outrageous comment to make, and completely wrong.
And which your policemen and policewomen took the knee as well, and at the same time with Extinction Rebellion, where there was a capacity somehow for the whole organisation to bring central London to a halt. It does appear now that there is a kind of hierarchy of issues and events that somehow or other, some are given, if you like, kid glove treatment and others are not. Can you not see how people are getting increasingly worried about that aspect of your policing?
I reject virtually everything you said. So in relation to Extinction Rebellion, we arrested nearly 4,000 people. So if you tell me that's inaction, I'd hate to see what you think action is. 4,000 people were arrested in Extinction Rebellion. In relation to Black Lives Matter, we arrested hundreds of people. This was right at the start of COVID regulations. We arrested hundreds of people for behaviour on the streets of London. And I don't accept, just to go back to your original premise, that the officers' actions on Saturday at Clapham Common were disproportionate. That is to be judged by the HMI. So I don't see the same picture you're talking about. You have to respond to each public order incident in a unique way to deal with it. But there can be no allegation that the Metropolitan Police Service didn't respond to these incidents. We responded to them as we thought was appropriate with the legislation that we have. And we're seeing new legislation coming in to deal with some of the aspects that we had trouble dealing with in the last 12 months.
You say you have to deal with these in the way you see appropriate. Maybe that's half of the problem, Steve, because there have also been other demonstrations, whatever you think of their views, about anti-lockdown demonstrations. And sometimes these have been dealt with quite a lot of force, and there does now appear to be a kind of different treatment. I repeat the point. It's just been so obvious and clear to anybody watching, depending on who is protesting. This actually is what leads to severe loss of confidence in the police. I'm sure you must be aware of this. You're almost behaving as though you're not aware of it at all.
I'm aware of your suggestions. I don't agree with them. I can tell you that the Commissioner and myself have never... Of course we listen to public opinion and we listen to political views, but we act within the law and we apply the law as evenly as we see fit. It may look different to people who believe they are public order experts, who believe they know all the circumstances of what's going on. The reality is, unless you're actually there dealing with it, you don't, which is why I won't second guess my officers. I'll let them stand by their own decisions. But I reject entirely what you're suggesting, that there is some sort of soft peddling on some people and a hard-nosed approach to other people. We are not a politically driven organisation. We work in a political world and we are overseen by politicians and we have various views expressed by politicians at different times. The Commissioner is a professional police leader who for over 30 years has used her values, her ethics, those of the Metropolitan Police Service and the legislation, because she more than any police leader I know takes seriously the fact that one of the real strengths and guardians of democracy is an operationally independent police service, and I can guarantee anyone listening to this call that's what the Metropolitan Police Service is today.
Right, okay, so I have one more question and then I'm finished because of time. Right, you say that in fact you don't soft pedal some things and you don't go hard on others. But just take two examples. Earlier this year, a lady was bundled into the back of your police van because she was an anti-lockdown protester outside the House of Commons. It was so disgraceful that an MP actually brought it up in the House that day. Only a few weeks before, your men had somehow allowed Extinction Rebellion people to get right to the cenotaph and have a demonstration. How did that happen? Security lines alone, let alone anything else.
You're talking about two specific, highly tactical. You're talking about two specific, highly tactical instances. I actually saw on video what that MP reacted to, and I see nothing wrong. We are dealing that woman who was arrested had been involved in a number of demonstrations that day and had been warned on several occasions by officers. And again, you're talking about something, frankly, you've seen on video, you've heard an MP talk about in the Commons, and you believe you're an expert in it. And all I would say to you is...
Don't patronise me. Don't patronise me. I'm a member of this committee. This is our job, right? And when it suits you, you talk about social media, so I can too.
Yes, I do, but you shouldn't judge just on what's on the social media, what the MP... But I believe you are.
No, I'm not, sir, with respect.
And you're comparing and contrasting it with the senator.
I'm just giving a different view. Those people are allowed to stand at the cenotaph. You're talking about confidence in the police. That's what my question was about. That does not inspire confidence in the police. They could get near to a monument on Remembrance Day quite easily. And yet somehow on other demonstrations we see people being hauled away and taken away rather roughly, depending on what the demonstration is.
Yeah, I'll go back to what I said.
I think you both made your points.